Why, hello. Quite the fun party we have here. I believe this is after party 8.
It is.
Does anyone else hear Isabella?
Yeah.
Izzy!
I like your party dress.
Oh my. Hello, Falls.
Falsy.
That's what I was waiting for.
Do you like her dress, Falzarin?
It's alright. I'm playing hard to get.
You've been doing that since we started.
Wait till you see what's underneath.
Oh, Isabella.
Okay, oh my god.
Here we are. We just got the E rating. All right. So what we're doing, we're talking about 4 episodes this week, right?
Again, yeah.
Yeah, so 23 through 26.
That's right.
Yep, and this starts outside Victor, I believe, after the Pepisodes, right? This is right after the Pepisodes?
Right after the Pepisodes.
And I think we start out with Gozer having a dream, if I remember correctly, right?
It might have been something she ate.
Gozer had.
Yeah.
She ate some funky cheese.
Yeah. Now, we really don't know much about that. I know Bren had a little bit of a discussion there with her, but I don't think the rest of us have any idea.
But Falzarin knows more than you do, because you pretty much just went right back to sleep, but I talked to Falzarin and Bryn for a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
We were both there for a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think Shaft really cares. Everybody has dreams. No big deal. So
yeah, no big deal.
Not ethereal plane dreams.
Just a 9 hit point reduction.
Oh,
yeah,
what?
No big deal.
That's what that was?
yeah, her max hit points went down.
I mean,
I knew they went down, but goodness.
Falzarin, she has a lot more than you.
That's true.
You're
Yeah.
pretty squishy.
Yeah, that would have been
My
death.
hit points.
Would have been like half dead.
Insta dead.
It still hurt. It still hurt.
Yeah,
quite
well,
a bit.
this batch of episodes had our first experimentation at, solitary kind of one-on-one stuff with the DM. Everybody but poor Bryn.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody didn't get her one-on-one time. Frown.
It's coming.
Yeah, that's true.
It was magnificent for me. What about you, Bill?
Didn't you kind of
felt the need to
railroad
have
him
it.
into it, Shaft? Like you kind of like made it
Well,
happen.
we'll get there. Once we get to that episode, we can talk about that.
All right.
Felt the need to have a cigarette afterwards.
Oh, jeez.
I guess overall, what's everybody's thoughts on how that went? I mean, other than leaving the mic and everything and some of the recording edits that had to be done. But I think for me, the most difficult thing is not being able to listen back to our episodes without listening to everybody else's parts.
That's true for
I
me
guess it
because I have
requires
nothing else.
A little bit of self-control. It's easy for me because I know that I'm not a good enough actor to be able to listen and know information that Falzarin's not supposed to know and be able to act accordingly and sort of.
But you are
forget that.
20. Well, I guess to this recording, we're almost 30 episodes in, right? That's almost 30 hours of play, and I think you're doing a really good job of being able to differentiate what you know and what you don't know.
Definitely getting better, but I'm not super confident that I could know.
It's almost like being an idiot comes second nature.
But yeah, like if I knew some like really important, juicy detail that Falzarin doesn't know, I think it'd be tough.
I think on mic, Bryn is the most, like, I've multiple times suggested metagamey things, and then everyone were like, no, metagame. So, yeah, I didn't listen to anything. And for good reason.
Well, I think what John was alluding to right at the beginning there was just the act of listening to those episodes and having to, because if it's not clear to the listener, the party members still have not listened, nor will they in anytime soon to those solo parts. So again, it's literally knowledge they just do not have.
Right.
And I have to give them timestamps. Okay, you can stop here and then start again here. Oh, no, okay, John, you can listen from here to here. And Gozer, Emily, you can listen to here to here, right? Like, yeah.
Right.
So, like, the act of listening to those episodes for you guys must have been a pain in the ass.
I mean, it's tough for me because I'm in the car typically when I listen to these.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of looking down. I got the little button on my iPhone that lets me jump ahead 30 seconds. So I was listening today, and you said step away from the mic, and I'm like, dink, 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 dink. Kept on hitting that button, and then it would come back, and I'd hear a voice for a second. I go, oh, no, I want to hear that! And so, and
that's what happened to us, too.
I mean, luckily I didn't die in the process. There was lots of other cars around, but no, I did all right. So, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I felt like it was
probably
really
would have
fun,
awarded
though.
you some posthumous inspiration had you for sure.
Wow.
Show must go on.
I mean, I'd even overrule our new inspiration ruling that we still do not use and hand one out myself.
I think number one, I think we forget about it. And number two, you made the rule that if we do it enough, you get inspiration. So
yeah,
I think that makes us sort of hold back on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we continue to learn, and I just keep screwing up rules that make the game harder for you guys and more deadly. So anything else I can grab to try to kill you guys, I'll take.
I like the new inspiration thing. I think that's fun that we can hand it out to each other.
Yeah, I do
but,
too.
You have to put some bounds on it, right?
I mean, mine was wasted. Gozer's was wasted. Like, our inspiration didn't really do much.
Well, I mean, we can't help that if you guys are
But
going to waste it.
It could have been really good.
Well, yeah, Gozer did hers on, a roll
save
for
theft,
yeah.
Trying to save theft.
I think that
save my
was
theft.
inspiration well spent.
Well, oh, wait, yours worked, but wasn't there another one that you used, or no? Am I just remembering mine?
Mine didn't work. I used the
Oh,
inspiration to get a higher roll, and it was a lower roll.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Right. All right. I felt like I remembered that.
But there is a theft
I used
love.
mine to get a higher roll and didn't.
There is a theft love going on with Gozer and theft, and
Oh, yeah.
and I think even the party overall. I don't know if Shaft really cares one way or the other, but I think you all sort of are starting to get a little bit of a love for
Hard on.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah, hard on.
Bill definitely likes theft. I don't know if I haven't thought much about what Falzern thinks of him.
I think Bryn likes theft, but I think Bryn was like when you made theft go ahead to like find traps, like that was ruthless.
I was
I think,
cringing.
yeah, I think Bryn was.
we're,
see.
we're jumping out of order of these sessions here.
But let me
We're
address
on the
this.
subject of theft. Because even when he was still half alive, you still made him do something else ahead of you. Yeah.
Gozer loves theft, yes. But theft is also a useful tool and will be used as such.
But you're not
He's-
proficient in that tool.
Yeah, you're not proficient in using it.
That is true. Yeah.
He is my, I'm his king, and he's my...
It's not like subject, though. It's like slave. It's really... you use him like a slave, and that's what makes Bryn cringe a little bit.
He has free will. He could run away if he wanted to.
It-
I mean, he'd probably
in
get
a
an axe in the
trap.
back.
You tied a rope around him and everything. He can't run away.
Well, when he doesn't have the rope on him, he could probably run away, and he would probably get an axe in the back. But that's his choice to make, right?
I don't think you would never put an axe in his back.
Yeah.
He ran away from me?
No,
Yeah.
you
As
wouldn't
tough
do
as
it.
Gozer is, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm starting
Emily
to second
wouldn't.
guess.
I mean, Gozer
Wow,
would.
I think you guys are severely underestimating
Gozer
the chaotic
is
evilness
so
of Gozer.
evil, yeah.
yeah, but
Like, she opened up to Bryn a little bit about her dream, but I do not, like, as Bryn, expect Gozer to, like, not backstab me if it came to it type thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, quite frankly, the only trustworthy member of this party really is Falzern. And
that was gracefully.
That works the other way, too, because Falzern just freely throws out his trust willy-nilly.
That is true.
And he's going to get us killed.
Where it's warranted,
Everyone listening is probably like, wow.
she's just misunderstood.
Well, and this goes back to something that John had mentioned a couple after parties ago. I think it actually might have just been the last one. The last post-credit scene we had. This is the time that John mentioned where like the listener can be like, has more information than the party, and they're like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they doing
Right.
this kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's a great thing for the audience to be able to.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's awesome. Yeah, which also I think as much of a pain it is to, take you quote unquote out of the room when we're doing this over the internet. I think it's worth it. I think in the end it's worth it.
I do too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree. I really like it. I think I can imagine it's interesting for people listening. I'm looking forward to going back and listening to what I've missed out on once it's not going to impact whether I know it or not for role playing.
Yeah, and honestly, who knows how long that'll be.
Yeah, and that's fine.
We only did that once in episode 23, right? That was just Gozer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in 23, what other than the dream sequence, what did we do in that episode?
Was the
Falzarin
Sardo
got
battle in that?
punched.
Yeah, Sardo returned.
The second time Falzarin's been hit by Gozer.
And Sardo talks Falzarin. Sardo talked normally, which I didn't expect. I thought being undead, he would, I don't know.
You'll be
Have a
losing
list.
on this deal.
Something. He would somehow, his voice would reflect the fact that he is undead.
What would an undead Sardo sound like him?
Ooh.
That is John, for the record, everybody. That is John.
I'm a revenant. Yeah.
I'm a revenant.
Yeah, exactly like that.
I'm a ghost.
No, I did like that. That was one of those foreshadowing things in episode 16, I believe it was.
That's right. Yeah.
And at the end, so we weren't really aware of who that was coming up the road. The lack of hands didn't clue us off, I don't think, initially. But that was another one of the great quotes, right? You're gonna lose on this. You're losing on this deal. Which Emily's putting up some session quotes now.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I love
I
that
love
one.
that one listening back.
He didn't really say anything else, though. He didn't say much.
Yeah.
He didn't have much to say.
Because
That's
he
all
couldn't hit
needed.
us.
That's all he needed to say.
Yeah. That was so frustrating. I was so frustrated.
Listening back, I felt bad for you because I was like, you created this like scary bad guy, and he just did not have any success.
Yeah, and the frustration wasn't born out of not being able to damage or hurt you guys. I don't care about that. The frustration was I, at the time, didn't feel like it was as impactful as a moment as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I got that listening back.
Yeah, but I still think it sounded, I don't know, it's you guys just totally mopped the floor with him again. I think it's funny, right?
He just needed somebody to give him a hand.
Oh, maybe two.
I knew there was going to be a hand pun
I
there.
think it would have been interesting to see what happened if Bryn had have failed her. Was it a Constitution, Wisdom saving throw or something?
Yeah. That could have been ugly for Bryn. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, that's one thing that kind of happened that maybe made it a less impactful than you were hoping it would have been. If she had have failed that, who knows what would have happened? It could have been interesting, but. That's the way the dice roll, I guess.
It was cool because we recorded the battle with Sardo and then episode 16 released so we could listen to the add-on that you made.
Yeah, they were really close together, yeah.
Which also helped us realize how much of an impact you wanted to have versus how much it had. Because...
it was still definitely interesting.
Oh,
it was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't seem scared like one bit at any part of that.
Well,
I was a little
that
bit.
makes sense too, right?
I'm always scared in battle.
You're always scared.
I've got like 2 hit points.
Oh gosh.
And also, when people get up close to me, I'm screwed. Totally screwed.
Yeah, you have like no melee.
Yeah,
spells.
and he was getting pretty close to me at certain points.
Yeah, he was.
We'll find that out.
So what scared you
sooner.
more, Gozer waking up from her dream or Sardo?
Sardo.
Aww.
Because
Gotta
Gozer's
try harder
only
next time.
Gozer's only going to hit me once, and I just have to withstand that blow, and then I'm good.
She's not going to hit to kill. She'll hit to unconscious or whatever.
To correct.
Yeah, well, you're 1 for 2 on the Gozer punches.
I know.
That's true. It's 50-50 chance.
Yeah, you're batting 500 right now.
Got a bit of a glass chin.
Glass chin.
So I think that battle actually spanned 2 episodes, right? I mean, it was...
No, actually, it made
end?
23 run about 10 minutes longer-ish than we usually do, so I put it all into 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We just dealt with Sardos's dead again body in 24.
Yeah, you burned him up a little bit
Crisped
at the end there.
Barbecue.
And you saw this kind of weird, like, light, spirity thing kind of rise out of his body and kind of disappear.
And then we were off to, we were off to Goldham, and then we went to cross a bridge, I believe, was the next encounter, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Ribbit.
Yeah, I know Shaft wanted to have an interchange with these creatures without actually killing or stabbing them first, which I think is why we went up to talk. But it was interesting to listen back to see how close, I mean, when Leland said, okay, you're across the bridge, and we could have very easily discontinued on. There was no...
Yeah.
And I think talking to him a little bit more, getting a little bit more information, really led us to some great information about, the paladins. We have the armor, and which we have to remember to go back to get.
Well, yeah, we don't have it.
Yeah. Potentially be able to use them, I believe we talked about, as either additional help or maybe to have some kind of a tertiary thing going on so we can sneak in. But our big problem is going to be the boxes. I think that's the thing on that episode we learned the most is you need one of these little cubes for each person to get in.
Yeah, if it weren't for that, we would have not known that. Like that's really important information.
Yeah.
So it was good that we did that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key to our ultimate goal.
We would have been screwed, man. If only one
Fried.
of us had a cube.
It would not have been the best had you attempted to assault one of those towers without that little tidbit of information.
Well, thank Gregory for that, I think.
Sorry, Greg.
Yeah.
Poor Greg.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Greg and all his friends that I can't remember their names.
Pour one out for
I think it was
Greg.
an Anthony.
Anthony,
Yeah.
Well,
Tony.
let me ask you an actual question then. You as obviously your characters, I can pretty clearly know the answer to this. But what about you as players? Do you feel any actual what exactly are your feelings about the paladins right now?
The paladins that were in that camp specifically, or the paladins as a whole?
As a whole, based on all of your limited interaction for most of you, anyways.
You're saying in character, right?
Well, I think I have a pretty good idea what your characters think of them, but what about you as players?
Well, I think it's first off, your history is this has been going on a long time. This has been a really slow creep.
Yeah, it has.
They, 30 some odd years, I believe, and they build the towers, and then it slowly sucks the energy out of the land and kills everything around the towers, and it's a slow progression up. So I don't know what the Paladins' ultimate goal is here, but it doesn't seem like if it's world domination, it's going to take quite a couple 100 years to be able to go at their current plan. So I don't think ultimately they're doing anything that affects us directly, but it's, I don't know if they have anything to do with the sickness.
I mean, what they've done directly affected Bryn, but so Bryn freaking hates them.
Well, okay.
But
yeah.
But I, as Elena, think like they have a lot of connections, and like, what good are we gonna be able to do? I think there's a lot of wheels turning.
They're a blight on the land, and they need to be stopped and eradicated.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the whole continent's going to be destroyed eventually.
But can 4 of us or any allies we found eradicate tribes and tribes of these paladins?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, we could start it.
A different perspective, but like my opinion of them is definitely not a good one. I don't know what their ultimate end goal is or what they're doing with all this energy they're harvesting from the land, but I'm not into the fact that they're just pillaging the natural land and also people around. Like, I mean, I guess I don't know if the frog people are technically people, but
Gregory sort of turned on them
speciesist
relatively quickly, right? Well, not relatively quickly, but Gregory. It seems like the paladins are just people that have been assimilated in, similar to maybe what the Romans did, right? They come over, take over an area, and then put, because the stuff that's attacking Goldham is not the paladins; it's all the stuff that they're driving forward, all the monsters.
Right,
yeah,
it's a result of of the paladins' actions, but it's not necessarily orchestrated by the paladins.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you haven't really had much interaction as far as like verbal interaction with many paladins. I mean, mostly just Hank.
Mm-hmm.
And we killed him.
But I hope what got across from Hank was that like Hank is just like a fucking thug.
Yeah,
like he's just
Mm-hmm.
this. I mean, he was meant to be like this opportunistic guy that found his way to the paladins because it allowed him to get away with some of the stuff that he liked to be doing anyways.
Right, he got a little bit of power and he's abusing
it. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they're doing much good. Whatever end that they're seeking, destroying the land and animals and whatever species they come across in the process is not very cool.
Right, but I think they're doing it like it's a slow creep, right? So, if you lived in Drakal, you probably don't really care about what's going on way down to the south. You can't see the creep, right?
It's not affecting you directly.
It's a curious thing. Like, they have these really powerful towers, obviously, but they're not, like, they don't have presence that we know of in Victor and Goldham, like, marching around, pillaging, you know what I mean? Like, the thuggy type stuff you were talking about, Leland. Like, I mean,
well,
we just haven't run into them, but...
You gotta wonder what power they have already successfully harnessed from all of the death and destruction that these towers have caused over the past 30 years. Like, where's all that energy going? Right?
So you think they're harnessing the energy? We don't have that verified in any way. That's a good theory,
It makes you wonder, though, like...
To what end?
The towers are sort of lined up, right, in a row across, and their palace and everything else is down south. And you need to have one of those cubes to go through the tower, so it's almost like a blockade. So I think the bad stuff's going on down south, and the towers are just there to keep people from going there. There could be really nasty stuff going on down.
It's an interesting theory, though, if they're able to harness that energy somehow.
There's definitely got to be a hierarchy. Like, the paladins that we've run across are not the big bad boss dudes.
No, I'm sure they're just foot soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, as to how invested they are in the cause, the ultimate cause and the goal of the paladins, they're
probably more mercenaries.
Yeah.
The question is, can they buy us? I think they can buy Bryn, and I think they might be able to buy Shaft.
Elena immediately was like, no, but then, Bryn, that's true. Gotta play the character.
Yeah, I don't know. What would Gozer think?
If they offered her money to join their side?
If they just said...
What about food? What about raw rabbit?
I mean, we're not doing this out of the kindness of our hearts. We're doing this out of money for Goldham, essentially, is who ultimately hired us. But if they were to offer us 10 times what we're being paid, what do you think your character would do?
Gozer would go with their side.
Oh my goodness!
I really do think that Bryn cares about
himself into.
I do think Bryn cares about money, but her past with the Paladins, I think she would stand on principle and not work for them. Yeah,
we don't know that. So, I mean, I don't know anything about that. So,
well, you kind of know about Hank and my friend.
Oh yeah,
that was up. But then in general, the Phalaren Forest was, like, destroyed.
I would think Shaft would think that was just a bad interchange between you and some people stealing some stuff. That really is not a political thing. Right? I mean,
I don't know I don't think Bryn really got into it all that much.
Maybe not. But maybe Bryn would take the money and work as, like, an inside agent type thing.
Yeah.
A double agent.
Yeah. So
all right, let's do it. Let's get bought into the Paladins. Let's go.
So ultimately, to answer your question, I think from a John perspective, I think they're a bad Roman empire that is eventually going to try to take over the land. From Shaft's perspective, they're not really a threat, and they really don't mean anything to me except getting that tower turned off so we can get some money. If they exist and do their thing, I don't really care.
That makes sense.
Bill can't be bought.
Bill?
Yeah, no.
Is that
Not even for a bag of holding?
I mean...
Wait. You've got
No.
a few... Spoilies!
Yeah, that's a huge driving force for Falzarin, is wanting to gather more magical knowledge and learn more about anything to do with magic.
Yeah, they probably have all kinds of magic down there.
But
Think of the resources.
he does have a bit of a moral compass, though.
Yeah.
You're the only one that's good.
I think the moral compass...
Weren't the Romans really good people?
Yeah,
they
totally.
ruled justly? Yeah.
What's the Romans, ever done for us?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't think of... I'm sure there's potentially a situation where Falzarin might be able to be convinced to see things from the Paladin's perspective, but it's like a 1 in 100 type thing. I think 99% of those other potential scenarios, he's not gonna want to have anything to do with helping them.
We'll talk you into it.
Yeah, if you even get there,
You can be a
who
double
knows
agent.
the way you guys
Oh, shush.
travel.
Once we've got Isabella working with us with her powerful magic,
We'll go back to the Goblin's
It'll be a
Cave
lot
where
easier.
Gozer's king.
And just retire.
Yeah,
Just retire, sitting on
Yeah.
heaps of gold.
that might be the end of Gozer. You guys would travel on without her because she'll be happy in her mountain.
That's not that bad. It's a nice send off for a character.
like a big, like a dragon, just holed up in a mountain on a big pile of gold.
Yeah.
Could you do that? Like, create a scenario where your character stays and is gone and then you get a new character?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to quote unquote retire a
What?
character and you think it's a cool, you don't got to ride them till they die.
Really?
I would miss Gozer if that happened, but yeah. It'd also be exciting to play a new character.
Yeah, I would miss my character.
Yeah, it's always bittersweet.
Yeah, so we talked to the Grung, and then they took us to, they escorted us through the forest, if I remember correctly, to take us to where we could cross over as directly of a route as possible to go to Goldham.
Yep.
Right.
And we learned a little bit about them. I mean, their colors dictate, their hierarchy. They Gold Grung, I guess, was the leader. At least our assumption is he is. And
Highest ranking official that we saw anyway.
so, I mean, they've obviously been able to capture some of the paladins, at least the paladin guards, I believe. Or they weren't really
Scouts,
guards;
maybe?
they were scouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not, super powerful. At least the scouts and things. We don't know. We really should have got more information. Now that I think about it, who the leader is.
I mean, we don't know if they took them one at a time or if they were in groups and the Grung just surrounded them like they surrounded us.
Right. Right. And, well, I mean, it's evident that the Grung aren't helpless, though, as well, right?
Right.
Yeah, they could be pretty fierce warriors.
Right.
We also would have had to get the information before you said, "Sorry, Greg."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that right after I sort of told Greg tough shit. Yeah, I should have got the other guys' names. Now, I think, they said they have a list or something that, like a scout list. Is that what, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, like a roll call.
With everybody's
It's like
names on it.
Day by day or shift by shift, I think.
Yeah, I imagine those guys are already long lost as far as the guards are
Yeah.
concerned.
They
Yeah,
didn't
probably.
realize they're gone.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the possibility of us using their names to sneak in. I have a feeling that would have probably backfired.
Yeah.
Probably. Because Shaft would have said the name wrong, or we wouldn't remember.
Never would that happen.
You still call Thuft the wrong thing.
That's
On
right.
purpose. It's Shaft's thing.
And I think our biggest thing we have to worry about is figuring out how we can all get these cubes. I think that's the thing of everything we learned in these last 4 episodes. I think that's the most important thing that we have to do. And you stole that from Sardos's shop. So, and did we get any more information? Did you have any information on that other than what we just found out from Greg?
I had no idea what it was when I stole it until we made it here, basically.
Okay.
We all forgot you had it.
I liked
I didn't.
the way
We
liked
all with an asterisk.
I liked the way it sounded when Leland was describing it, and so I was like, oh, I think maybe I'll try and snag that. It might be interesting.
I don't quite recall if or what Sardos said about it. I think at the time it was, at the time it came up, I believe it was just you and Falsey and Sardo in the shop while the rest of you were outdoors talking about what you wanted to do with them. Like that was way back in session 2.
Yeah, boy. I knew what I wanted to do with them.
So I don't quite remember if Sardo had given you his spiel, but I don't know how trustworthy that would be anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't think he told me much of anything about it.
Although, seemingly amongst a table full of garbage, he actually had something important.
Yeah, what are the odds?
Possibly unbeknownst to him, even, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he knew what it was, it wouldn't have just been sitting out.
Yeah, don't you think?
That's true.
He was
It'd
a
be in
scam artist.
safe.
He had a safe? Ooh.
I'm just saying.
So.
You
That
missed
perk-
a safe.
That perked Bryn's ears up. Ooh, a safe.
So that's when we were traveling, and we had some traps that were surrounding the city of Goldham. I guess they put those up for the monsters and creatures that were coming up from the woods,
Wild animals.
Where that's where Gozer used
Just ruthless.
poor Thuft as a.
It worked. He found the trap.
I think my favorite part of that was Thuft almost
he found
gets
the trap.
impaled, right?
Frick.
Yanked back up and takes more damage because of the spikes.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't leave him at the bottom, could I?
No, but then there's no rest or anything. We get a little further along, and I'm just going to send Thuft up. But I think Bryn said, "Isn't he almost dead?" And,
Yeah.
and your response was yes. So
Just stating
No,
the facts.
I believe it was, you're sending Thuft? Yep. Isn't he almost dead? Yep.
Yep. That was when we were like going through the rubble. You're like, oh yeah, Thuft will follow you out there. It's like, will he? Like, Bryn was a little bit pissed.
I guess, yeah, she did sleep with Thuft as like a teddy bear, but it was also more of an armor, if I remember correctly. So you're right. There is no real love there.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
It's all for Gozer's own benefit. And so in that was session 25. Session 25 pit happens. That was also Falsey's one-on-one, his convo with Isabella Good.
Yes.
Yeah, looking forward to going back and listening to that one.
I know nothing more than I think there's some flirting going on between you two is all I know. Well, I know when we came back you were both, a little flushed in the face. Both felt like smoking cigarettes and
My hair was messed up.
Yeah, Bill was smoking his cigarette.
I will tell you, it went about, as far as the flirtation, it went about as well as you would think it would with Falsey.
Oh, gosh.
It's honestly like flirting with a doorknob. It's like,
I'm not going to get into it because it's spoilerish, but there's later conversations with Isabella where things do get a bit more spicy.
What?
Right? Or am I thinking of the same episode?
It is, because you had the little walkie-talkie thing that she gave you. That's what we're talking about, right? That's
Did
where
I
that
talk to her
happened.
twice?
Up until where we've played, you haven't talked to her again.
I don't
think
think
you just
you've
talked
talked
to
to
her
her again.
once.
In these episodes released, you've only spoken to her one time.
Okay.
But yes, in the next couple episodes, you do end up speaking to her again.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
I
just
don't
leave it at
remember
that.
that.
But yeah.
You
And-
let it
and
get
you
spicy?
you guys were present to hear that too, I'm pretty sure.
That was, well, again, spoiler, it's coming up. But yes, you...
So you guys...
yeah.
I think you guys have heard the best of flirting. You're not missing out on a whole lot.
Yeah, maybe we did. You know what? We did. Okay. Yeah.
This time
we
around
heard
was
you.
much more... Falzarin was much more like trying to think on his feet of like, okay, how much do I need to be worrying about what gets said here, and should I tell her we're going there? What's going to happen, sort of thing. Falzarin is less thinking about flirting and more trying to think a bit strategically.
In the first conversation, you're trying to think strategically?
The one that just happened, yeah.
The one where you told her where we were and what we were doing.
You were trying to think strategically
Strategically
where
about how to
her
kill
where
us.
we were, where we could meet her.
Right, when you
Yes,
came back and
I-
told us, and
What we've been
we all
doing.
went, "Oh shit! What the hell did you do? You're an idiot." That strategic.
Yeah, to summarize, I've sealed our fate. Whether we like
Yeah,
it or not.
yeah.
Whether we like it or
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a judgment call, and I thought to myself, you know what? She could be a big bad guy, but even if she is, we can probably beat her. But if she's not, we do know that she's got some reasonably powerful magic, and it would be nice to have that on our side.
Now-
Or maybe...
You should have stopped before the first butt.
Were we 100% sure that she has something to do with that cave before this conversation, or are we just talking
I
amongst
think
ourselves?
we had strong suspicions.
Guessing
Yeah,
that.
I don't think there was no 100%. There wasn't proof.
Right.
But you all were like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the Sardos body,
Because she had access to Sardo's body.
and he.
That's
That,
right.
there was a
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Back
'cause
door to
Sardo's
her
body was
clinic that we never saw.
So we
I
made
was
the
going to
assumption
say because of the thing after the episode I listened to that I probably shouldn't have listened to. All of a sudden I was like, oh. I'm going to read a comment from our friend Jessica. It's not the question that she submitted yet, but she said, "Oh, Falzarin, so naive and trusting. That woman is so freaking creepy. She sounds like the kind of person who's driving around in a white van, offering children, aka Falzarin, candy, aka magic."
Yep.
Accurate.
Yep.
Like,
Guilty.
here, little boy, there's some magic over here.
strongly disagree, but okay, Jessica, you're entitled to your own opinion.
To be fair, one of Falzarin's, I forget if it's a bond or a flaw or whatever it is, but
flaw.
oh, crap, I'm getting
Yeah,
Anything
right
for
now
magic?
it's a flaw.
essentially, I'm gonna have to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what it is, but you know, when everyone else is running from this big let's say demonic monster, I can't remember what it is exactly that I described in the bond or flaw, but
Okay.
instead Falzarin's standing there with his notebook open taking notes and like
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Exactly.
Mm.
Curiosity killed the wizard.
Right, exactly. I'm willing to maybe take some risks that most people wouldn't.
Right. And Isabella Good resurrected him back.
So I have a question for you, Falzarin, or Bill.
Yeah.
The book that you found in the cave was full of spells that were much higher level than your capability.
I
correct?
think
Yes,
I
level
don't know
5.
if I
Level
figured
5
this
wizard.
out or
He told you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. You
And-
have to be level 5 to
And the item that she gave you, where she could talk to you, it's not a sending stone. I don't think. I think it's something else. But either way, it's a higher level spell than you're capable of casting. So my question to you is, why do you think, as someone that is obviously a much higher level magic user, is so interested in learning something from you?
that I don't have a good explanation for. So that's the biggest red flag for Falzarin.
Okay. Falzarin should have a good idea why. Falzarin should at least have some idea why. I would go and refresh yourself on your own character history that you wrote for me. Falzarin should have at least an inkling. Is this
like a dirty joke or not a dirty joke?
No, it's not. It's not a dirty joke. No.
It's like I'm trying to think of what Isabella would know about me.
Does she know your history somehow? Maybe.
Well,
she shouldn't.
I mean, well, yeah, of course, that's part of the mystery, right? That is maybe what Falzarin really should be apprehensive about. But Falzarin should have some kind of inkling of what or why or how Isabella is interested in.
For a long time now, Leland has teased throwing Falzarin's history into like the works, so there's something going on.
Yeah, I didn't think it would have anything to do with Isabella, to be honest.
I mean, from Shaft's perspective, she would be interested in Shaft and have no idea why she'd be interested in you.
Of course, she'd be interested in Shaft.
I mean, Shaft left her wanting more, as far as he's concerned.
More distance.
She's funny.
I don't know. Now you've got me thinking, Leland. Which is something that I obviously haven't been doing thus far.
All right, I just wanted to throw that out there. I was curious.
Yeah, from my perspective, I'm good with... I'm an evocation wizard. So why would a necromancer want an evocation wizard?
She wants you.
Apart from my dashing good looks.
She thinks there's something special about you.
Okay.
Well, the note that I made about this episode is Falzarin talks to Isabella, proves he is gullible.
Ooh.
I'm curious, listeners. Let us know if you have figured something out that I'm too stupid to figure out. I want to hear some fan theories about this, because I got nothing.
Also, we'll put a poll on the IP Twitter page. Is Falzarin gullible?
100%
Answer
yes.
A, no. Answer B, also no.
Actually, answer A,
That's my
yes.
kind of poll.
Answer B, probably.
No, in all honesty, I think Falzarin perhaps is a little bit gullible because he's lived a bit of a sheltered life on this little island where there's probably not a lot of, it's a bit of a closer knit community, I'd like to think. Not a lot of...
You probably played it right. Because, you came back
I think you're role-playing perfectly.
Because he came back to the group and
so
we were all
like,
what are you doing?
But also, like we had just said, willing to take risks.
Right.
Because...
Right, in the pursuit of greater and better knowledge, exactly.
I know that she has access to some powerful magic.
Right, expanding your own magical horizons, for sure, is priority number one for Falsey. And absolutely, the atmosphere of Heraklion... certainly, there's certainly their own antagonistic attitudes, but definitely still very much like-minded attitudes. And just stepping onto the mainland, you'll find all these differing and opposing opinions and ideals from all across the number of peoples that you just have never really interacted with before.
Right. Yeah.
Especially the majority of your time on Heraklion was your formative years, right?
Yeah.
That span of time has made you the man you are. So
how old are you?
I think you're role playing perfectly.
I'm in my early 30s, about my age.
Oh, really? I always pictured you as old and gray.
Nope.
But I didn't listen to your character thing, so I didn't know how old you were.
I mastered wizardry very quickly.
Okay.
He's super proud of himself too.
Are we going to, on this Falzarin topic here, going into episode 26, are we going to talk about the whole chunk of catapult we took out, or are we not talking about that?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to it for sure.
Because, listener at home, Leland was wrong.
I will take credit
and came around.
Why that didn't need to be as big of a deal
as
it needed to be, and I'm partly responsible for that.
You're both at fault.
Using the word cleave was
We'll get to it.
Terrible.
But that takes us really to the end of 25 where Shaft starts to feel bad, feel not good.
Right.
And needs to take a bit of a breather.
Yeah.
And the girls are like, suck it up, Cupcake.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought thematically it's sort of like we've been together, 2 weeks now in line? And, so from the perspective you guys have, I would think it's sort of like I have to, I have to sit down. I have a condition that I have to take care of every so often. So, Falzarin was relatively concerned. Gozer cared little or none. And Bryn didn't really particularly care too much about me not feeling very well.
Well, you said you needed to do a ritual, you'd be fine. Yeah.
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 Whatevs.
I know. Bryn continued to ask, I don't know what's going on here, but then you went over the hill of rock.
I got a little curious. I will correct myself that if any of you guys are Proposal fans, the person who does the Little John ritual dance is Sandra Bullock, not Betty White. So my apologies. I misquoted. But I mean,
right,
I was close. I never quote movies right. That's an Elena flaw.
I confuse those two actresses all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
They are classic mistake.
They were dancing together, but anyway. Yeah, I don't think Bryn cared. Bryn was like, let's go.
Yeah, totally you were. And that leads us right into 26, where you have your fight with the ant kegs, the giant ant thingamajiggers. All the while, Shaft is still recuperating.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny, just because, like, that was like, well, between the Sardo and this fight, like,
It's getting to become a common theme.
These encounters that you guys are really handily taking care of. You're down a party member. I'm like, I'm not designing my encounters very well, obviously.
No, I mean it was actually
You're making us arrogant.
30 seconds.
I think so.
Right? I mean both
That's
of them
right.
were down.
And you didn't. It was because John said, "Hey, Leland, I want to talk to you." Right? Like you didn't plan on talking to John.
Hell no. John sprung that one on me.
That's
Right.
a railroad. If I.
Yeah, I think I was saving my sickness for the perfect time, or for a time. I don't know if that ended up being the perfect time, but I
Word
honestly
choice.
sort of hoped that
Sickness.
everybody was going to sit down with me for a few minutes. Is what I really had, or everybody was going to stop, I should say.
Right.
And not continue on into a battle, because when I sat down, there was no threats.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. You're
I
right.
mean, with Gozer and I, maybe you should communicate that more clearly.
Well, if everyone could be like Falzarin, just more in tune.
Nothing would ever happen.
Oh. Everyone needs to lighten up on Falzarin. Okay.
Well, that
Falzarin's got feathers like a duck. Just rolls right off.
Emily, I think you had an email you were going to read. It had something to do with lightening up on Falzarin, right?
Yeah. So Michael Caldwell said he had a comment about. Oh well. Okay, this starts off kind of bad for Bill.
Oh, no.
Lay it on me.
Oh, no.
And ends bad for Leland.
It comes around.
It's like, Bill, you idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone take it easy on Bill.
Had comment about Bill confusing when a spell uses an attack roll versus the target making a saving throw.
Oof.
It seems like the target audience is people new to RPGs. New listeners are just as likely to try a spell casting class and might struggle like Bill has. It sounds like you record several episodes during a single session, and the sessions have a lot of space between them. It's a lot to ask of someone new to spellcasting to try to remember every little nuance between sessions. So I think Leland should cut Bill some slack and use those moments as teaching opportunities for your target audience.
Well, I think it goes both ways. I could be doing more homework than I am, and also, like, that is true that it makes it a bit more tough on us that there's big gaps between play sessions, so I forget stuff that I've already learned 2 or 3 times over.
Sure.
So
And yeah, session 26 was our very first double bleep episode. Now, in my own defense, you are completely correct. Absolutely. I should always keep that in mind. And you are right. There is a long gap between our plays sometimes, and it is difficult to keep everything straight and remember how to do all the rules correctly, which is also why we continuously make mistakes and need you, listener Ian, to give us the correction. But in that instance, which I'm assuming you're referring to whether or not Falsey rolls an attack for the catapult spell that he cast, I was aggravated because literally Falzern did not read the spell.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but read the spell you're going to cast. Regardless whether or not you've never played before, or if you think you have 30 years on your belt and you think you have it memorized, read me the spell. And yes, I did jump in before you even really had a chance, and you kind of just went with what I did. So yes, I was also a huge factor in how that played out. But that was mostly why I was aggravated.
Right. I also did switch, and I don't know if this is a big factor or not, but I switched from using the player's handbook, which is a lot more descriptive of the spells, to these little spell cards. And I'd have to reference them right now to look to see what exactly is included or not included. But basically, it tells you less about the spell in these reference cards.
If the
Especially
spell
the longer spells.
has longer spells, the cards
and catapult does have a lot of
will
text
say
in its spell.
refer to page 200 and whatever in the player's handbook. So I think that's accounted for a little bit of it, maybe.
Yeah, I have to say, as being a DM before, I think the rule is sort of you all have to know your characters. The DM has so much going on; they can't remember. I mean, it's to Mike's point. As a new player, you can't be expected to remember all the small things. But in Leland's defense, he can't be expected to know everything about all the different character classes at all the levels and all the different... There's just way too much. You're going to reference the book. And I think what we get into a situation where when we're role-playing, we don't want to stop role-playing, go over, look in the book, read through the whole thing, and have this big long pause that takes you out of the moment. Sometimes you just got to hand wave those things and then go back later and go, yeah, you know what? We should have did it this way, but this is how we ended up doing it.
Right. Which is, and that leads us to messing up the grapple rule. When that Anke grappled Bryn, she actually was able to, she could have used her acrobatics check, which is much higher than her athletics, to get out of it. Now, luckily, she did end up getting out of it. And I think I also referred to it as a strength save instead of it's actually the skill check, which is a minute difference, but an important one, especially based on your proficiencies. So that mix-up can really make the difference sometimes. So that is an important distinction that definitely need to be pointed out. So thank you for that, Ian. And who, I think we had another comment about that too?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
Ian and Mike.
Okay.
Both,
so thank you.
Both said the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the whole catapult thing, I will try to keep that in mind for Falsey and not go so hard on him. I don't feel like I go hard on you.
Well, I mean,
I think if we're pretty close friends, so I'm not going to take it at all personally.
Well, see, yes, and that's the thing. I know
if we were strangers, then maybe.
Of course, yes, yeah. and that is part of it too. We've known each other long enough, despite I've never met any of you guys in person, but
the best of friends.
But I know when I say
you listen to our voices constantly. Though.
I know when I say something to you in a specific way or in a specific context that you will not take it out of that context, right?
Well,
I mean,
but maybe that doesn't quite come across.
I remember mixing up like my attack roll and my modifiers and which number and what and all this like for way too many episodes. And all I'm saying is you didn't double bleep me.
That also goes back to having big pauses in between.
Yeah, Leland likes Bill more.
Exactly.
Right? Because he gave him the read your fucking spell, Bill, right? I mean, that is love right there.
He said more with love. For Elena, it's like, Elena, your attack roll.
And that's, I mean, I'm used to it. Most of my best buddies from high school and college and everything, that's how we treat each other. So I'm not offended. But.
Well, that's how they treat you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
But also, this was like a 6-hour recording session, and that was a little long.
Leland was cranky.
From.
I think we were all a little cranky by the end.
Yes, by the end of it, we were all definitely.
We should take longer breaks for like just relaxing.
Well, yeah. Well, honestly, go ahead.
I think the bleep. Did it happen after we had just had like a big debate about how we're going to interpret the catapult, or is it before? Because that would add a bit more in your defense of being
I'm
cranky.
no, that's what I was thinking. I think it was honestly before, and then from there I was
trying to help you here,
already.
Leland.
I know. From there, I was already pissed off when we got into our argument.
I was
about
going to say, the
spell.
listener at home doesn't know, but there was about 25 minutes of back and forth over this
There was a
spell.
lot that I cut out. Yes, that I didn't cut out because I thought I didn't want me to sound like an asshole.
No, I don't.
No, but
Clearly, I don't give a fuck about
it
that.
doesn't keep the flow. The flow was still there, even with the little rant you guys had.
It wasn't beneficial to
Well,
keep it in at all.
okay, yes, that's a good point that I actually didn't consider. But the reason I took it out was because we ended up still playing the spell correctly again by chance. because it hit the first ANKEG you targeted.
Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So had it missed that ANKEG, the argument we had would have been way more relevant because I was arguing the improper use of the spell, whereas you, Bill, knew how the spell actually worked.
Well, I think that is it. Not every DM might play Catapult that way.
Well, sure, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, how I can't. Nobody can be expected to know how every spell works. And based on your track record, I instantly go to second guessing everything that comes out of your mouth.
Yes,
So,
naturally.
no, but actually, what confused me about that spell, just the skim that I had read through while we were playing, right, trying to keep things moving, was the two different, basically the two different ranges it states. Because you look at the breakdown of the spell and it gives you a 60-foot range, but the rock travels up to 90 feet.
Right.
Because you can target something, you can't be holding it. You target something up to 60 feet away.
Yeah.
From there, it moves in a 90-foot line.
Yeah.
That
It's a bit confusing.
yes,
For
that
sure.
is what I had
And
struggled on the spot
I think
to
that was
wrap
also
my head around too.
I chose a spell that has a lot of spell text to use for the first time, and I probably should have had the player's handbook out instead of this little dinky spell card that only
Possibly,
has a tiny snippet of the actual
no, but
spell
honestly, no, it's fine. I overreacted as usual, but whatever. It's what I do. If you don't like it, then I don't know why you're still listening.
John was sitting there doing a ritual. The battle, in all reality, was like very, very short.
It was, yeah.
So like the argument,
Catapult
cutting
is
it
a
out
really
made
good
sense.
spell.
I think my favorite part of the whole interaction was he takes a stone out of his pocket, throws it onto the ground where there's
saw these-
tons of
Lots of
stones.
stones.
You know what, John? I spent a lot of time thinking about picking up that stone, so I was using
Yeah.
it. Dang it!
Andrew
Yeah.
kept asking, "Are they in a line? Are they in line?
Yeah.
Are they in line?"
Did you add your +1 from your cap?
Oh, probably not.
From your
Do
cap.
I ever add it?
Remember the cap.
Yeah.
You need a little picture of a
a
cap
big
in front of you.
post-it note on
I've
your
written
page.
it down, and like when people doodle in class and they like draw circles around things and around and around and around and around. I've got like this massive box highlighted around.
Maybe
it, like,
while we
+1,
play,
and
you
I
need to
still forget
wear a
it.
cap of casting,
Maybe.
and you'll remember.
Well, your entire attack bonus for your spell should be +5. That's what you're.
Right. Yeah.
Or is it more now because you upped your intelligence? I don't know.
I have to look at my sheet.
Yeah, we don't have our sheets out.
But yeah, that +1. There have been occasions when it could have made a difference.
Yeah, there has. Yeah,
For sure.
there has. Well, anyways, you guys cleaned up those ants.
Smushed them.
Yeah.
Antosaurus.
Thuft almost died though.
Lots of butt paste.
That's what I'm saying, Thuff.
Thuft was so close to dying.
Well, he would have been unconscious.
No, he was
He was close to dead.
he was close to instant death. Yeah.
Did you give him the Grung health potion or
No, I kept
No.
suggesting it, and she just
No, it was
wanted-
my health
I was
potion.
gonna say we never found out if it was effective yet.
Once again, you're convincing me that she would let him die in a heartbeat. Yeah,
I know.
I've changed my mind. I thought there was some love there, but I don't think so. You're right.
There's
think
very
so.
little.
Yeah, Gozer is very much number
It's
one first.
More, he's my possession. He's my
He's
goblin.
an object. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's your theft.
Yep, mine. Nobody else can have him. Even if
Yeah.
I don't want him right now, that doesn't mean you can have him.
Well, we'll have to have a little funeral after party funeral if he ever bites it.
He probably will if she keeps treating him like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Leland's not the issue. She'll kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want Thuff to stick around. But actually, I unwittingly like depowered Thuft a little bit since you first. Yeah, I don't, because like I don't know why I didn't have any of his stats like on hand, so I just like kind of spitball something for a crappy quarter challenge goblin or whatever.
But he was the biggest.
He was the biggest. Yeah, he was a little more powerful, but
he
now
talks like a baby, but he's big.
Yeah,
but that's in relation to Gozer, though.
Yeah.
Who's like a...
Well, I'll tell you, he should have more than 11 hit points, but he currently has 11 hit points.
Oh, that's more than Falsey. Falsey remains the squishy.
Yeah, let's level him up.
I've said in the past, I think that I'm thinking of leveling up with you guys.
No, that'd be cool.
If
Should
she
he
doesn't
survive
kill him
that long?
first. Exactly. Exactly.
But the session 26 closes out with the rest of Shaft's solo, which I really wish we could talk about.
Yeah, I almost accidentally listened to that. Like, I had to scramble to pick up my phone.
I didn't
that was
realize.
you were listening.
Yeah,
on
we
your
were
phone.
both listening, and we didn't realize, and anyway, we like freaked out.
It was bad.
I'll
we were
say
like, blah, 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 blah.
Shaft. I think what I'm hoping for is the listener will be very frustrated.
That's what you're hoping for.
With
He's
because
smiling, you guys.
Because
He's smiling right now.
I think the idea of it is they know something that you guys don't know, and I think they'll be wondering why.
And it's frustrating?
Shaft is not,
the listener may or may not want to do something or not do something with that information that they also have that Shaft may or may not be doing.
Right.
Was that good at keeping that entirely
sure, that's good, yeah.
But still explaining the
I'm totally confused.
All the
I'm
listeners
totally
are
confused
not
too.
confused, but we are confused.
I was telling I was talking to Emily about it. I said, not about that particular thing. I said, sort of like the old Three is Company episodes, right? Where it's just one piece of communication that somebody doesn't have, so you see all this stuff happening, and you go,
exactly.
if they just said this one thing, then the whole show would be...
If they had just came and knocked on the door, it would
exactly.
all be
So I think having those kind of interactions on the show is something I want to try to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it also builds RP moments as well, and almost builds anti-RP moments. Strangely, it like individual RP moments. Weirdly, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Trying to say.
I absolutely know what you're saying.
So we can play with ourselves.
There's so much Shaft inner monologue.
Shaft wants
is
to play with himself.
Now, what I will say about that segment. Completely threw me for a loop. It was all entirely spitballed, and I think it turned out really great.
I did. I thought you sort of. I knew you didn't know I was going to do what I did, but I really thought you had already had all that. If you spitballed all that, you did a fantastic job, because it sounded to me like you already had that all underway.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely didn't have that.
I love
there was
John
obviously framework, and
totally
I built
threw
upon
this
it,
all on you. Whatever happened, it's hilarious.
The fleshing out of it all was fun improv for me, for sure.
Yeah. No, it was excellent.
That's one of the reasons. Like, I love it when we have Isabella Good, and I love that we have Thuft, because I think you, Leland, are really good at role playing. And as the DM, you don't always get to do a lot of it. I mean, there are times when you can, more so than others, but that's what is also kind of cool about these one-on-one sessions, is a lot of the time it gives you more opportunity to play someone with just one of us.
Right. Yeah, because, I honestly, I don't know. I don't feel like even the times that I am role-playing is that I'm really role-playing. Do you know what I mean? When
No.
I
I guess, but
No.
it, like,
What do you mean?
when it's happening in the moment, and especially when I go around and listen to it a second time, after experiencing it firsthand, like, I'm believing the characters you're selling us, like Isabella.
Oh, that's good.
And
That's
Tuft,
good.
and the other ones we've run into in cities. Okay,
I didn't say any names.
spoilers.
I like throwing spoilers
But yeah, like
out
they're
there.
totally people that I can imagine, which is that's good role playing. If the listener, can put a face and a body and a personality to this character.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'm glad. I hope it is coming across to everyone like that. Yeah, no, all the NPCs. They're all fun.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't put that much effort into like creating NPCs because who knows what you guys will do with them.
Right?
AKA murder.
Certainly don't
Well,
get
we killed a
attached to them.
few.
Just a few.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Sardos at least came back as a Revenant. Because it's still my favorite Sardos, I think.
Let it be known that Falzern tried to stop Bryn.
I got my money.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, Bill, you've been listening to other D&D podcasts. I've listened to quite a few of them. I'd have to say our shtick is the most dysfunctional party podcasting that's out there. I don't think there's any others that compare to.
Just like Rocket.
I've
Wear
listened
it
to
proud.
some that have some players that like really don't. I don't want to use the wrong words here. It's not that they don't necessarily work well together, but like the players don't necessarily get along great. You know what I mean?
There's banter, but they back each other up all the time. And our party, it's questionable.
I can't remember, unfortunately, the name of the podcast that I just started listening to, but
Well, we don't want to call anybody out here, okay?
Yeah.
yeah, it's not one.
If you want to start some rivalries,
I think it's
just give me the go ahead, and we can do it.
Critical Role or something like that. No, it's not. Anyway, that the three of them, they like don't like each other, the characters. It's still very early on in the campaign, so I don't know if that changes at all or evolves. I'm sure it does a bit, but they're not personalities that get along well, and so that reminds me of us a little bit.
Our relationships are evolving.
Yeah.
We'll at least like
For sure.
expect you to be gullible and like do the right thing type. We're learning that.
Yeah.
By you, I mean Falls.
Definitely.
I think Falzern is becoming less gullible. He's definitely being influenced by being around you guys.
He's
Not in a good
getting
way.
jaded.
Yeah. Bad influences.
Are we done summarizing?
Is there any other questions or comments or anything?
Yeah, I have some good questions here. Maybe we'll just get to one tonight because we're already running long. But Jessica asks, what aspect of your character is least like you, and what aspect is most like you, like as a person?
I think I'm similar to Falzern in that I have a high value on knowledge. Like, I love learning. But I don't necessarily... I'm not a risk taker in the sense that, like, Falzern is willing to take risks to... Like, Isabella's a prime example.
Like 1v1 an ogre?
He doesn't really trust Isabella, and he has a sneaking suspicion that she's up to no good. But he's still like, well, let's see what happens, maybe. Whereas I'm not. I wouldn't do that if it were me. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest comparison and contrast between me and Falzern. He's more a risk taker than I am, but we both are interested in knowledge.
Yeah, well, I know Emily will just as soon stab you as look at you, so... I think that's her trait, be like Gozer. What do you think?
I was going to say, maybe the spouses should answer for the other.
Oh, that's interesting.
Answers.
Yeah.
Gozer could not be more different from me. And there have been times where I'm listening back and Gozer says something and I'm like, no, that's Emily talking right there. Gozer would never have said that.
Aw, yeah. It's hard.
When you're being
She's
nice,
so
you mean?
evil.
Yeah, exactly. No, when I was saying like, Isabella's evil. She is a necromancer. She'd bring people back from the dead. People shouldn't do that. I'm like, Gozer wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Gozer probably think that's kind of cool, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't catch that, but I guess
I was going to say, you can be evil and not be pro bringing back people from the dead.
Well, yeah, I mean... but think about the possibilities of sending undead into battle, and then you don't have to risk yourself, so...
Like a theft.
Yeah. I mean, that's more along the lines of Gozer would think, because Gozer was in the army, essentially, in her tribe. They were constantly warring, and she was part of that war. So she would have more of a war mentality than I do. And sometimes I don't remember that.
How are you like Gozer? Are you like Gozer at all?
I don't think so. I don't think anything about Gozer.
You don't eat raw rabbit
like
sometimes for fun?
Yeah. I ate some worms from the other day from the backyard. John, do you think anything about Gozer is like me?
Well, Gozer, as a character, is basically just a basher and a tank, and there's
Calling
really
Emily a tank?
No, I'm just saying there's not a lot. The depth to Gozer is smash, eat. It's very, there's not much to Gozer's. There's a personality, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I know anybody that would be like that that I know. So no, I don't really think there's much similarities between you and Gozer at all.
Wrong answer. There is no similarities. Honey, you are perfect, and Gozer is a witch, and you are so much better, and there is nothing the same. That's what you're supposed to say.
No, I'm just got to think a little bit more. I'm sure I'll come up with something.
So Bill, you're not allowed to say anything about me and Bryn, because...
No, I don't think there are a lot of similarities, to be honest.
I think that, if you want Bryn to do something, tell her not to do it. I think that kind of could happen with me.
I suppose.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stubborn, she can be stubborn and, bullheaded about stuff. But I'm definitely not stabby in real life.
No.
No.
You're very trusting of people and see the good
in
in people.
My
That's
loyal...
the opposite of Bryn.
Yeah. If you're my friend, you're my friend. There's no backstabbing, any of that. But,
I thought of one similarity.
I like being sassy. Yeah.
I have a short temper.
Ooh,
there you go.
So, there's one thing.
Yeah.
I do like, he just goes, yeah, no comment. I do like proving people wrong.
He wistfully stares off into the distance.
That's being married for over 20 years, just sort of going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I need to say about it. I'll agree with you, honey.
Yeah. Thanks, honey.
Yes, dear.
That's probably what I mean by, if they tell me not to do it type thing. It's I like proving people wrong in real life. And that's what Bryn likes doing, too. Shaft, what about you?
So, I guess Shaft...
Manipulation.
I think manipulation.
He's a big flirt.
Yeah, there you go. I'd say, no, being sort of indifferent to things is probably the similarity. Sort of a live and let live kind of attitude. You can go kill people. I don't care. Just let me know so I can position myself, to not get myself in trouble. That would be Shaft, right? And for me, very similar, I think. I don't really judge people on, what they want to do or how they want to do it. Just sort of be yourself.
Right.
That's fine. But, I'll
you much rather use your words to manipulate the situation than fight.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
Talk your way out of things.
That's the Shaft similarity.
Talk people into thinking the same way that you think.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, that's a game that I enjoy.
You're like, you do you, I do me, but let me talk you into doing me.
Doing me, right?
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly.
Very well
That
put.
sounds very Shaftish,
Yeah.
Wait, that came out dirtier than I wanted it.
No, I liked it. So maybe the sexual exploits of Shaft might be similar. No, I'd say
the memoir he's working on.
The most different would probably be Shaft would betray you probably in a heartbeat if it was to his benefit. And I don't think I'm that kind of person.
No.
So, but
you never betray somebody.
But I
at all.
I really enjoy playing Shaft as a character because you get to do those kind of things that your alter ego in some way.
Yeah, like in reality, none of us would betray each other.
No.
That's sort of the cool part about role playing, right? So what about Isabella?
I was going to say, how are you like Isabella? I was about to say that. What are your similarities?
Well, she's like really into Bill.
And that's where they stop.
No, that was an interesting question. I like that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Is there one more? Are we sneaking one more?
Yeah.
The other one that she submitted?
Yeah.
We'll just sneak it in. And
yeah. She said, what race/evocation have you never played that you would like to try?
I think she might mean vocation.
Vocation? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like class?
Class? Race or class? Let's just go with race or class.
Sure that's what she's talking about, yeah.
So we can all answer this one.
We're here to teach noobs. Ugh, I don't know anything other than what I've learned.
Yeah, Elaine and I have. This is our only experience.
We always joke about cleric. So she was like, "Is cleric that bad?" Like she was asking me this at work the other day.
No, I enjoy cleric.
We just joke about it
have
because
3 of them.
I was gonna say we joke about it because of the healing, right? They're like priestly.
They're the main healer. Yeah, they're
Clerics
not the
are
only ones that
badass.
heal.
Cleric's my favorite class, actually.
I would think you two would be druids and you could run around like 2 little dogs.
So, yeah, if I have given a bit of thought to, not because I think there's any remote possibility that Falzarin will die. Don't get me wrong. But
no chance.
Should I need to make a second character? I have given a bit of thought to it. And a druid is definitely up there. I think druid would be really cool.
What's a druid?
So they are more into nature. They can do things like they can turn into animals. They can have like animal
companions.
What are they? Yeah, companion. I guess, is that right, guys? Yeah. You would know it better than I would.
Yeah, they could.
One of the podcasts I've listened to a little bit has one of the guys as their druid, and he does some cool stuff with it. So I think that would be very cool. Monk, I think, would be neat. They can do some interesting stuff.
Monks are
they can also heal, but they can do some damage too.
I think previous, the monk wasn't all that much. I don't know if it was powerful or not, but 5e is very powerful. I do have a monk in one of my other games, and they're very fast. They can multi-attack, do a hellish lot of damage, and disengage and get the hell out of there. They're pretty powerful.
They have some healing abilities too, or am I mistaken in that?
They might at higher levels, or my particular monk does not.
Okay.
But there are different types.
Okay.
But monk is fun to play.
I was very close to choosing a bard at the beginning.
I have a bard also. Bards are great as long as you're in a party that has about everything else that you need, and you just need a support character. They can.
Yeah, with a party of 4, bard probably. I don't know, I've not played one, but it seems like another class would be better.
Yeah, they're not bad.
All right, so I won't pick a bard, but I just wanted to get out my ukulele and jam,
I mean, you could.
I think from a roleplay perspective, you would be great as a bard.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I don't really know any others. Those were the 2 I looked into, as rogue and bard. And as far as race and stuff, I don't know.
I think that was one aspect that we were the least prepared about.
We forgot we had to choose a race.
Yeah, we had you had kind of thought about picking a rogue or something like that.
Well, because I picked
a wizard.
Because I picked rogue, they were like, elf gives you a dex bonus, yada yada. So it kind of would depend on my class that I choose, I guess, what race I end up being. I don't know.
Yeah, we very much kind of went with what the internet said. If you want to be this type of class, then these are good races to pick. So
no, that's what they taught us on episode 0. We didn't even go to the internet.
My bad. I have read about it, I guess.
They were our internet.
That's what I'm confusing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know much about the races at all.
So
I know
Emily?
more about the classes.
I think I've played a lot of the different classes. I have never done a wizard, sorcerer, or warlock, and I don't want to. I've not done a bard, and don't want to. Ranger might not be too bad. That's one that I haven't done.
Yeah, that's why I picked a ranger for Shaft. It was something I had not played for years, and I really like the ranger. I heard a lot of bad things about 5e rangers, and so far I'm pretty I'm pretty happy with him.
He does some impressive
That
damage.
hunter's mark and stuff is sweet.
Yeah.
Lily?
Oh yeah, Leland, what character class would you want to?
I don't think I've actually ever really played a wizard. I never really played a warlock or a barbarian, but I wouldn't play a barbarian.
I joined the crap out of being a barbarian.
Well,
Yeah, you are.
I don't think I would. I think, being a wizard would be cool. And as far as race, my go-to race is Dragonborn. Doesn't really matter what class I'm like Dragonborn. Great. Cleric, Dragonborn. Awesome. Sorcerer, Dragonborn.
What do you like about the Dragonborn so much?
I just like being able to breathe some type of fire. I don't know. I really like that race.
You convinced me. That's my next character.
They can
Yeah.
breathe fire.
Dragonborn.
And whoever dies first gets to be Dragonborn.
Depends. It depends what color they are, Bill. If you're a blue dragon, then you have an ice breath, or if you're straight up red, then it's
Ooh.
fire, or if you're black, it's acid.
By the end of this campaign, we'll all be
That's
different
crazy.
colored
I did not know
dragons.
Yeah, Dragonborns are awesome.
Dragonborn.
The damage doesn't scale that great. It's pretty low damage, but it's just cool being able to do.
Yeah.
And the very first character I ever played was a chaotic evil Dragonborn that ended up burning down a village with his fire breath.
Nice.
Well, not the village itself, just the actual villagers.
Okay.
They wore flammable clothing. It was
Really good. Well, actually, it was a village at the base of this mountain that they already worshipped this red dragon, so I fit right in and convinced them all to gather in the town square and close their eyes.
You did
and
it knowingly.
pray.
Come
Oh
on.
yeah, absolutely. And the rest of the party stacked this oil-laden wood around them and made this ring of fire, and then
Gosh.
just had at her.
What was his name?
That is
Oh
ruthless.
man, what was his name? I don't know what his name is. I can't remember. It was so long ago now.
Evil Knievel?
The last one I had was a Dragonborn cleric named Lucifer.
Oh gosh.
He wanted to be a
he was
good
good?
guy. He wanted to be a good guy, but his god was bad. He worshipped the silver flame, and basically he wanted to bring the light to everybody, regardless of how he got that done, as long as he brought them the light.
That
Very
sounds-
And
bit of a
what was
zealot.
his class, you said?
Cleric.
Cleric. Okay.
Yeah, clerics should be evil. Clerics don't have to be good.
Yeah, I never really pictured that.
Are
but-
there classes that have to be good?
There are classes that are generally good, but 5e does a pretty decent job, even in the player's handbook, just the core handbook, of giving you subclasses where the alignment isn't necessarily, it doesn't matter. Like even the paladin, which is traditionally like lawful good, you could be an oathbreaker paladin and be like neutral.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, right?
Anti-paladin in the old
Yeah.
system could be evil. Yeah.
I don't know if you got to really answer, John, what...
Well, I've played almost all the classes except for base fighter and barbarian, but
You haven't been a cleric?
or
Have
cleric. You're right. I haven't played a cleric, but I think the one that I sort of dipped my toe in that I really want to do more of is the warlock. I
Ooh.
was really enjoying the warlock and my, patron god or my demon that I could call upon, and my imp that I had that would try
You're
to.
playing him like an 80s
Yeah,
metalhead.
yeah.
What?
He's that kid that's down in the basement at mom and dad's house, the pimple-faced kid that just wants as much power as possible.
Black leather jacket.
Yeah, that's sort of what my character, that warlock, Killian is his name. And all I wanted to do was, see how much evil I could learn, and sort of like Falzarin with magic.
Ooh.
And
But opposite.
so the thing about a warlock, at least in the one that I was playing, is you had to have like sayings or things that you did before you prayed or you did a spell or something. And if you didn't say it, there's a percentage chance that your your demon overlord could appear and punish you for not doing the things that you were supposed to do. And we actually had that work to our advantage one time, where the demon showed up when our ass was we were gonna be dead, and I accidentally didn't do the right thing. The DM rolled and said, "Okay, now you're gonna pay the price." He didn't kill me, but he definitely taught me a lesson, but also scared the hell out of everything else that was around attacking us. So,
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah. I'd like to explore a warlock a little bit more, too. And I usually go with gnome. I usually play gnome wizards, as what I used to play. I like gnomes. This is my first halfling, I believe, but I'm not playing it like a halfling. I'm playing Shaft more because halflings are good-natured, trustworthy folk,
Yeah.
And this
Cool.
Shaft, his background sort of betrayal, and he doesn't particularly care much for the halfling lifestyle. He's pretty much the opposite of that.
Or am I allowed to come back as a revenant rogue?
Yeah, die first.
It may depend on the circumstances of your death.
That'd be freaking sweet. I think.
There are some advantages to being a revenant. However, the revenant's sole purpose for living is to get revenge, and they only have 1 year to do it.
Oh.
So should you not get your revenge in a year, you're dead. You perish.
Finally disappear from the party? It'd still be cool to
exactly.
have a revenant in the party, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to eat, you don't sleep.
Don't need to
go to the
breathe.
bathroom.
Yeah.
You don't need to breathe.
If they do get their revenge, do they die outright then?
Yeah, I believe they've finished their purpose. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys could help
So we
me
would
get
have to
my
constantly
revenge.
stop her from being able to avenge her death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if she was powerful enough. Well, I don't know. I think bards, you guys undersold bards. Bards are really fun. But bards are really best in the social encounters, right?
Yeah, charisma based.
Outside of combat, they really shine.
Right.
And it
Depending on
Why
the
is
subclass.
that?
you said they're also a bit of a
Just because they're charismatic as fuck, and they, all their spells, they could charm people and persuade them to do what they're asking them.
Right.
I had a
Okay.
halfling bard named Adolf. He was so fun to play. Adolf Sax. Adolf Sax invented the saxophone, so I named my named my bard after him. And he had a DM listener Riley actually was the DM then, and he made Adolf's nemesis. What was his name? It was something trumpet. It was the inventor of the trumpet. And they were each other's nemesis,
amazing.
and they had rivaling bardic companies that they were
That's
trying
so
to grow.
funny.
It was really good.
Yeah, I think I probably didn't enjoy the bard as much because we don't do a lot of role playing in our other group. It's ours not anywhere near as much. So, and that is the key.
I think
bard.
so. Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but bards do a lot of, you said they're a good support. Do they do a lot of kind of buffing their allies and sort of debuffing the enemy? So making your allies stronger, and then doing things to make the enemies more susceptible or weaker. Or
yeah, and
Jolvi was a bard, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jolvi
like
was a
Leland
bard.
said, they have a lot of different ways they can go. I mean, it's not like they're not good fighters.
Jolvi was trying to charm us and stuff.
But they're not. You could contrast them with a wizard, like a higher level wizard, where he's gonna throw massive damage things at people, whereas a bard is more so going to not necessarily throw a bunch of damage. He's gonna be
vicious mockery,
helping out
is all you do. That's the first
helping out the party by either helping them directly or making the enemies weaker.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
it's
and they're very tricky. I mean, they have a pretty wide hitting spell list. I'm not sure how many spells are specifically only on Bard. Like in your comparison with the Wizard, I don't know what spells are on the Bard versus what's on the Wizard, but the Bard has quite a bit of variety, and they have a lot of their own subclasses, which can give them even more magical variety. Not to mention, I think a great feat to take as a Bard is that Magic Initiate, where you get 2 free cantrips and another spell from any list you want. Right?
I thought about grabbing.
I think they have they got a decent amount and level of spell slots as they level up. Like I think they're just more. They're kind of well rounded, but
okay, fine. I'll come back as a bard.
You do already own.
I got the instruments.
What is it that you have? Or those ukulele? Yeah, couldn't think
And
of
the
it.
guitar. Yeah. All right, good questions.
Yeah, those were good questions.
So good stuff to come in the coming episodes. We have
Absolutely.
a lot of role play
yeah.
actually, and I think the next there is some combat, but I think there's a lot of role play coming up, right?
Yep, session 27
Ooh.
has quite a bit of combat, and then 28 and 29 like strictly all role playing, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
Quotable. We need some,
Those are like
quotes
two
for
of
Instagram.
like some of my favorite episodes I think so far.
Oh, really?
Awesome. I know we had a lot of fun in Goldham for sure. That was really fun.
Yeah. So good. Stay tuned. It's
I know the scene you're thinking of. That was hilarious role play.
That was so good.
That was really good. All right, listener, hang in there.
Hey,
you
can't wait for the next after party.
Yeah, keep the comments coming on social media to us and
Yeah,
questions.
the questions.
And the rules corrections, much appreciated.
We're going to be throwing out
Yeah.
some quotes from previous episodes in the near future, and interact with us. When we went to Origins, we got to meet some listeners, and some feedback on it was really nice, and it's always good to hear that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And best thing you can do for us is tell a friend. We got to hit 2,000 by July 15th.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what the goal is? The 15th?
We are very, very far away. we could probably hit it by the end of July.
We are closer than I thought.
That's honestly,
We're doing all right,
we've got a
listener.
lot
Well,
more
no one wants to
listenership
hear
than
us talk about
than
our
I
stats.
expected.
Yeah. Just tell a friend.
We're just sitting here circle
But
jerking each other.
I am-
We're
Share
doing
the
so
love.
good.
I am genuinely I'm very humbled by how many people are joining along in the journey and enjoying it, and sharing with us how much they're enjoying it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I find it funny that Bill couldn't think of the word humble.
It's not one that I use often.
Oh, and if any of you are interested in joining our Incorrigible Party Discord, just DM us somewhere and we can send you a link.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can join up where we're having oodles and oodles of conversation.
You can harass us on there as much as you want.
Terrible banter all day.
Interact with Ian for the rules corrections, and
Yes.
Super McDad or Mac Daddy, however you want to call him.
Mac Daddy
David
Dave.
Dave.
We got Brian in there. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's good times.
It's rocking.
Okay, let's stop listing before the list runs out. Okay, it's very long. We'd be here another hour.
I was going to end with and many others, but
We're gonna just start making up names. There's Adolf. There's Killian.
Yeah, Adolf Sachs.
Yeah.
Lucifer.
Adolf Sachs.
I heard there's a Blake. Who else?
I think he's a mayor too.
Oh, Mayor Blake. All right.
Well, I've been Leland Steele.
I've been Shaft and John.
I am Emily.
I'm Elena.
And I've been Bill. Thanks for listening.
And that's our show. Our intro and outro music was created by Josh Jarvis. For your own musical inquiries, contact jamesmercymusic@gmail.com. All other music and ambient noise is courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. The Incorrigible Party is sponsored by Critical Hit Design. Visit criticalhitdesign.com for all of your graphic design needs. You can find more info on the characters and world at incorrigibleparty.com. Enjoying the show? Have any questions or rules corrections? Email us. contact@incorrigibleparty.com or reach out on social media. The Incorrigible Party on Facebook and Instagram, @IncorrigiblePar on Twitter, using the hashtag AfterPartyIP for a shout out during our behind the screen after party episodes that drop every 4th release. Happy adventuring!
Remember when we had the node debacle?
Oh gosh.
I couldn't get on the right node. That caused me so much distress.
Bill and his nodes.
Hey, you gotta get those checked out.
Ignorance is bliss, okay? If I don't have anyone look at it, there's nothing wrong.
You're telling me you don't have to look at them all day.